Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the 143. This is episode 71. We are with you virtually again.
That's right, coming at you with a running back episode. Just going to give our thoughts and debate some running back topics with you.
We have another Prove Me Wrong episode for you. This is our second Prove Me Wrong in our series here. And running back edition. Kicking it off with the stat of the week, brought to you by Andrews Logistics. Interesting stat for you. So I was looking here at the list of the leading rushers by rush yards the last NFL season, and as you would guess, most of them are running backs. But number 7 on that list is a quarterback. Justin Fields was 7th leading rusher in the league last year with 1,143 yards.
Very interesting.
So what does that tell you about Justin Fields? He should probably not be a quarterback.
That's your I mean, that's what the stats say, right?
Hey, stats don't lie.
And your player of the week is going to be Mr. Josh Jacobs. He was one that I feel like I kind of forgot about in regards to production, but he actually led the league in rushing yards with 1,653. Averaged the second most in carries. He had 340 total carries and tied for 5th in 12 touchdowns. So congrats to Josh Jacobs.
Attaboy, Josh. Yeah, I kind of forgot about him too because his team was not very good, but he was.
Because the Raiders were not very good, but he had some huge games for them. Had a couple.
Yeah,
I want to say like 3 touchdown
yards.
games or something like that.
He had a good season. They just did not play very well defensively. All right, let's kick it off with the first Prove Me Wrong running back edition. Nick, I have it for you. Prove me wrong. Zeke will never have another productive NFL season in his career ever.
I think that is an apt assessment because I think what helped Zeke be a little bit more successful last year, obviously not saying he was amazing or anything, but I would say that last year he was a little better than maybe he has been. But I think that was because he had a very, very good counterpart in Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard was the guy that he had all the speed, he had the quickness, he was our primary pass catching back, and Zeke would really come in on third downs. It was the third and short, or like when we're on the goal line, we only needed to punch it in for 2 or so yards. So I think that is an apt assessment. Zeke will not have another productive year unless he has someone who can help him carry the weight.
Agreed. He just was he's kind of washed at this point, which is why we cut him, and he's been declining for the last like 4 or 5 years. And I don't see him going to another team and being good.
I think we made the right call in investing our stock in Tony Pollard because he's only gotten better since he's become a Cowboy, and he's younger.
Yeah.
And I feel like he has a higher ceiling than what Zeke did, and he shows no signs of stopping. Also drafted Deuce Vaughn, and then we picked up Roland Jones. So I feel like our running back room is looking a lot better. So I'm not sweating the Zeke pick.
Agreed.
Okay, so now that we got Joseph's out of the way, I'm going to go with a prove me wrong. Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in the league.
The best running back in the league. Oh, that's a tough one. So, I will. I like Christian McCaffrey a lot. I think he's a great fit for the 49ers. I personally did not see enough last season to say that he is the best running back in the league. Here's the thing. So the last few seasons he's been hurt. So we haven't really gotten to see like the full version of C-Mac. Gets traded middle of the season to the Niners. And I mean, he had some really good games, but I'd say what he does best is pass catching and receiving yards after catch. But the thing is, the running back position has kind of evolved into a pass catching position. So I think pass catching wise, he's the best back out there. Running wise, I don't think like running back wise, like pure running back. Um, I would say Derrick Henry has still got the hold on that. So I do think I think he's the best at pass catching. He's the best receiving back for sure, in my opinion too.
I think there's some truth to that. We are seeing the running back position change a little bit because I think we're seeing less power backs. Like you said, Christian McCaffrey, he's kind of a pass catching back, but then we're seeing guys like Saquon's become a good pass catching back, Austin Eckler, Jamal Williams, and even like we mentioned before in Tony Pollard. So we're kind of seeing the shift in the way that coaches are utilizing the running back rather than
Mhm.
just handing them the ball. They're finding other ways to get their athletes into space.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's also just we've also seen any running back in the 49er offense is normally pretty successful. So CMAC did a really good job, but I mean he's really talented, but I definitely would go to him more for a receiving back. But yeah, the running back position is changing. And so I that actually brings me to my next prove me wrong. And um, because the running back position is changing, I don't think NFL teams should be paying their running backs big money. I don't think that the running back should be a highest paid position anymore because and I'll explain before I let you take over. I think um, we're seeing all these teams pull these guys out of undrafted guys late in the draft guys, and they're making them amazing because to be a running back now, it's not your classic handoff up the middle, hope they can plow through 10 guys and get through and like score. It's more like, you'll give it to them on an outside run, a toss, but normally it's like a screen, a short pass. They're the kind of the dump off. You see the Austin Eckler dump offs a lot. So I don't think there's any need to be paying these guys a lot of money because it's shown because they get hit so much, they have to be replaced, and it's come to our attention that they are easily replaceable.
I think so. I think what teams should do, and I think what the smart move is pay the offensive line first.
Yeah,
Because
agreed.
if you have a good offensive line, then that means that your quarterback has plenty of time to throw and can make good decisions. But then also, I think that gives you the luxury of kind of sticking whoever you want back there at running back and them being successful. And like we talked about with the whole pass catching back, I think the whole dynamic has changed because we're seeing guys who are maybe a little bit smaller but are a lot faster
Mm-hmm.
playing running back. Like you look at Austin Eckler, he's not particularly a huge guy, but he's fast. I think you could say the same thing with Tony Pollard, Jamal Williams, even Christian McCaffrey, right? It's like almost these guys that they're not quite slot receivers. They've got a little bit more meat on the bone there, but we're seeing less power backs. So I think that, yes, it would be smart to not pay the running backs, and I don't think they should be the highest paid anymore. I think you should primarily, bulk up the offensive line first.
I just think when it gets time to pay a guy, even if he's been doing really good, move on to the next one. That's what I think. I know that's a big thing, and they're probably not going to do stuff like that because they want to keep their good players. But I just don't think there's a single running back out there that's like that I would pay 100 million plus to if I could just go find another guy for a rookie contract.
Well, just because they get hit, you know,
Yeah, they're good for
they're
1 to 2 years.
they're hit one of the most. They're one of the most hit people on the field. So
Right.
you see lots of injuries. Like I'm looking at the list of running backs on here, and look like every single guy on here has been injured
Mm-hmm.
multiple times. So that's
Yep.
something that you also have to think about is when they come back from injury, that means one, they're more injury prone, and two, they might not be as good as they once were.
Agreed.
So for my second prove me wrong, what I was going to say is this is not necessarily a prove me wrong, but just kind of a question. Should Minnesota resign Dalvin Cook? I've seen there's some controversy there about whether or not let him walk, or I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I think it goes to what we were talking about before. I would not re-sign him. I don't think there's any point. Dalvin Cook last year was not good. He has shown that he has been hurt, and he's old and washed as well. Running backs, like we said, it's a fact they deteriorate faster. They're taking the most hits out of everyone. They're taking the ball up the gut most of the time. They're just taking the most contact because they don't have the ball in open space a lot. And I think teams are trying to move away from that, make the running back more of a receiver. But Dalvin Cook is not worth a contract that he's looking for. And he didn't help them at all last year. I think you let him walk and you find someone else or keep Madison. Like the backup's pretty good. I just don't think the running back, like there's the big names in the running back position are slowly fading away.
I think his story is similar to what we say about Zeke and a lot of other guys that have declined in the past. It's where they had a good first 2-3 years or so, but then after that, there's just kind of nothing left there. So I think that the smart thing would be to let him walk because I don't think that he is worth what he's asking for.
I agree. Y'all let us know if you like these Prove Me Wrongs. We got some positive feedback on the last one, and this one wasn't as star-studded because most of this was about how the running back position has changed. But
it's also just interesting because we're seeing running backs, they're kind of bouncing around a lot.
Yeah.
Like we saw Miles Sanders, he's in Carolina. We talked about last year, Christian McCaffrey went to the 49ers.
They're bouncing
Jamal
around
Williams, New Orleans, Dalvin Cook's probably gone from Minnesota. Zeke's gone from Dallas. And so there's just lots of change going on because I think they're less valuable than they once were.
I agree. But we will see. We'll see in the next few years. Definitely some change more towards the pass catching backs.
Absolutely. Here's you like to end our shows on Under Review. I've brought to you a quote from the Muhammad Ali. Champions aren't made in the gyms. Champions are made from something they have deep inside them. A desire, a dream, a vision. That's the truth.
It's very true. That's the champ right there talking. So listen to his words. Thank y'all for tuning in this week. Thank you for listening to us. We will see y'all next week on another episode of Under Review.